There is a ton of excitement around the opening of Epic Universe at Universal Studios Orlando, Florida in May of 2025, just about 6 months from now or so, if you can believe it. And Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando, Florida has got to be looking over their shoulder because this could change a lot of the theme park dynamics down there in Central Florida along the I-4 corridor. We covered the Comcast Universal earnings call yesterday, and one of the remarks that we had was probably at no time in covering all the previous earnings calls that we have in the past few years have we heard so many questions around theme parks like we did yesterday, and we've got to talk about it. Renegade Online. Got that. They even put the quote from Yves Guillemot in the article that I guess they claimed shot down the rumors. I'm like, what were you listening to? Or what are you reading out of this? So, and it was bizarre. So I don't expect to have that today with Comcast. I expect some very straightforward answers. And like I said, I expect, quite honestly, Jonas, I'm thinking these guys are going to be pretty excited today. They get to talk about Epic Universe. Since the last earnings call, they now have an official opening date for this new park. I think there are going to be more questions today about the theme park side and the studio side of things than I think that we usually would see on a Comcast earnings call.
I totally agree. Usually the theme parks are mentioned and then they move on. They of course, because it's a lower part of their overall revenue than it is for the Disney company, where it is the critical part of their revenue. They're able to get by with just answering a couple of questions. Actually, the questions don't really come up. It's mostly about broadband subs on this one.
It is, because like we talk about, the Walt Disney Company, Jonas, what is the bread and butter? What pays the bills at Disney?
Oh, it's always theme parks.
Theme parks, right. What really doesn't pay the bills at Comcast?
Theme parks.
Theme parks, right. It's that's the difference here. So when and I think one of the other comparative metrics that we want to see today, especially coming into 2 weeks from today, which is November 14th, which will be the Walt Disney Company earnings call, it's going to be key to hear today when they talk about the theme park side of things. Attendance, obviously. How many butts are going through the turnstiles? What is the spending at the parks looking like? What is the expectation for the financial performance once Epic Universe opens? And I'm going to tell you something, Jonas. I was thinking about this the other day, and all of this you see on the screen, this is the investor presentation that's going to be covered here in about 14 minutes. But while we have time before it begins, one thing I notice is that if you were just getting off the boat, right? You didn't know anything about theme parks, but you wanted to go to one, and you walk into Orlando, Florida, and all you know is what's in the news. And you see a lot of articles out there about Disney World and how expensive it's gotten,
right?
And how the experience has gone downhill. And there's nothing but complaints. And I'm talking about from Wall Street publications. I'm talking about from trade publications, just regular, vloggers and bloggers out there. There's a lot of complaining right now about Disney World. Jonas, have you seen anything like that, even remotely? And I'm being genuine here because I don't know. Has there been anything out there remotely like that when it comes to Universal Studios?
No. Everyone knows that Universal. Okay, so there's one theme park they've got there that's a little lackluster that needs some love, and it's the Universal Studios Orlando, whatever they call that resort now, because they call the overall thing the same. That one is not as good, but it has Harry Potter Diagon Alley, and that brings in the guests. Yeah. And they're also improving the park, and they're not trying to pretend like it's the greatest theme park in the world that like Disney always does. They're also not charging $200 a ticket yet.
But this is what we're talking about here. This is some of the animatronics. This is some of the new stuff coming to Epic Universe next year. This is actually specifically to the Frankenstein experiment. They're talking a little bit about this. Look at some of these things. I mean, they have created what they're billing as the most sophisticated, by far, animatronics that have ever been built. And I want everybody to stop and think about Tiana's Bayou right now.
Tiana's
Where,
Busted Bayou Adventure.
yeah, I mean, look at these things. This is not CGI. These are the actual. These are the real things. This is what's in the rides and attractions in the new Epic universe. And yeah, Disney. What they jacked some 20-year-old, 30-year-old technology off of Disney Paris, if not mistaken,
Mm-hmm.
and then repurposed them for Tiana's Bayou because they were trying to save a buck. And let's be honest, I don't think Disney has the talent anymore to do what Universal is doing. I think all the people that Disney has gotten rid of over time, all the talent they had has gone over and either started working at or is training the people over at Universal. All the Imagineers.
I totally agree. And then there's also the fact that Disney has cheaped out on everything. They're trying to squeeze every nickel that they can out of those theme parks because they know they have to run the entire company off of that revenue.
Yeah, I think that's what it is because they are trying to plug too many gaps. There is too much bleeding out there. I thought there was another video, maybe, or this is, yeah, it might have.
It's the same video.
It is the same video. Okay.
There's one video of Dark Universe where you see the Wolfman in silhouette, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
It was to the point where I thought that's not a guy in a suit. That is this is really good stuff. And
it is.
And if you haven't seen the Tiana animatronic, it's not even worth bringing it up. But it's basically the only thing that moves on it is her above the waist. And she's moving her arms in a way that it's like they're trying to prove it's an animatronic as opposed to doing anything natural. And there are 15, I want to say 9 to 12 actual animatronics on Tiana's Bayou Adventure. There are 14 animatronics on Monsters Unleash. I'm not trying to do a one-to-one count here, but the Tiana's one includes like the mom swaying in the background and the alligator's butt sticking out of a log. You know, it's really not impressive from a technical standpoint. And they also destroyed, I want to say, something in the hundreds of animatronics from the original Splash Mountain in order to make this thing happen. It's a lesser reskin of an existing attraction. So again, we harp on Disney all day, and we'll be doing it again today at 11 a.m. Eastern time on Morning Magic. But they are ripping out capacity in order to replace it with lesser capacity at Disney parks. And Comcast is actually building a new park. So
right, unlike Disney, who is not and seems to not have any plans to. All they're going to do is dump a few thousand cubic yards of dirt into a river, or at least it's so rumored, and create stuff nobody asked for.
I have to correct you. The only rumor is that they're not going to do it. They've said they're going to do it. They're going to destroy Rivers of America. And the only rumors are that they've seen the backlash is so bad that they might not.
Two questions, if I could. Let me start on the theme park side. As you look forward to Epic for next year, first, how do we think about the capacity of Epic, and how do you think about balancing the potential demand in terms of volume versus perhaps trying to more significantly price it so that you get a better experience with lower crowds? I'm just wondering kind of how you think about that balance.
How much can you charge? Because Disney
and
is
then
just
housekeeping question, by the way, is are you seeing? You mentioned $150 million of cost expected in Q4. Should we? Was there anything in Q3 that we should be aware of in terms of Epic anticipation costs? What? And then on the cable side, if I could just squeeze in one more, how are you thinking about BEAD at the moment? And at the rate that you're expanding the footprint, should we expect any significant capital intensity changes as you have now a little more insight about the BEAD program and what you might do in rural markets?
Hey, Craig, let me just hit your quick question on just costs around pre-opening costs around Epic. So for
he
third
wants them to
quarter,
keep raising prices.
minimal costs there, I'd say in the range of $20 million or so in terms of pre-opening costs.
That's it?
We did say, just to clarify your comment, you said 150 for fourth quarter. What I said in my prepared remarks was 150 million in pre-opening costs split between the fourth quarter and the first quarter. I think between the two, it'll be more weighted towards the first quarter.
Who
Yeah,
cares?
Craig, thanks, Mike. So on Epic, like I said, we couldn't be more excited. It is our most ambitious parks experience we've ever put together, right? So it will warrant a premium, and think about ticket pricing at a premium level, but consistent with the market in Orlando. But I think the way to think about how we're going to manage it, and we've started this with, we want to drive Orlando. We've got now in addition to being what it is, a standalone park that's going to be magnificent.
They smell blood in the water.
It transforms Universal Orlando into a weeks-long vacation with the other existing parks. Mm-hmm. So I think we'll look at it through the lens of how to optimize the totality of our Orlando footprint, while making sure the park goer experience is a great experience for Epic, which will be on itself priced at a premium. We are seeing great demand in the early days since we announced that May 22nd next year is opening day, and we'll be putting together a lot of Comcast, NBC, Universal Symphony effort to now raise awareness of the park as you see in the months and months ahead leading up to opening day.
And I think as we get closer, especially into 2025 when Epic Universe opens, I think we're going to see more elation. And I know there's a lot of questions right now coming in from folks that were on the call, from analysts wanting to get a little bit more color out there on what's going to happen with Epic Universe. But obviously, look, they're very excited about it. It was the second thing that they hit in the remarks at the top of the call. They talked about, hey, we did better than we thought with broadband. Oh, and we're really excited. Here comes Epic Universe, right? That hasn't been the case in the past. The theme parks haven't been that high up the scale when it comes to what they're talking about in their remarks. But
right, they're money
now.
Machines. You don't have to worry about advertisements in the same. You don't have to worry about getting advertisers into the park because you're marketing your own products here. You are selling merchandise constantly, ridiculous amounts of food and beverage. You can almost capture the audience for the entirety of the week, which is a great thing for Universal's theme park properties here. They now have something that they can pull in people for 3 to 4 days minimum. So if you're doing 3 to 4 days, it's very easy to stretch that out to 7. So
right.
This is a big get for them, and they have room to grow, not just in Orlando, but there's also this thing out in Frisco, Plano, whatever. There's this Halloween Horror Nights thing out in Las Vegas, and of course, there's the fact that they are working on the Great Britain Universal theme park out there. I don't think they have final approval on that. They didn't talk about it on this call, but if Disney is threatened by this, they need to be more worried that Universal can do this 2 or 3 more times without breaking a sweat, without breaking the company.
There was a question there about they wanted to see if you could price the parks higher. You got this guy. I think it was Craig Moffett, wasn't it? Wasn't it Craig?
I didn't keep track of who asked it, but that sounds about right.
I think it was Craig from MoffettNathanson. Craig Moffett, one of the 2 partners of the firm. And if you've listened to the show, we have talked about investor reports or comments made by the guys at MoffettNathanson before, because they have made many comments about Disney over time. But he comes in and he asking about the pricing structure for Epic Universe, basically suggesting that, hey, are you charging enough?
Well, that's a legitimate question. Except that they, I mean, give them a chance. Let them show the profitability on this. I'm sure they're building with the idea that they're going to make money. But again, looking at those 4 items on screen right now, they each have very unique merchandising profiles
Yes.
that will be of appeal to people that don't even necessarily set foot in the park. Universal Monsters has its own thing. Super Nintendo World, Nintendo, and specifically Mario is one of the most marketable franchise to the 10 to 24 crowd and under. Wizarding World, huge. And How to Train Your Dragon hasn't been represented in a theme park on this level in the United States yet. There's a lot that can be done there. So I think that they're going to make their money back on merchandising, and I'm not necessarily worried about the theme park tickets. This is a tried and true model of theme park pricing.
Right.
And Disney is going in a different direction because they're failing at this model of theme park pricing.
Right. Think about this. To your point, Jonas, I'm asking the audience to consider is that, okay, you walk into a Disney park right now, it's going to cost you for a single day ticket, what, $200, for an Orlando park. And at Universal, it might cost you $150 or something like that. It's cheaper than Disney, I can tell you, because I was just up there earlier this year. That doesn't even get into the whole Fast Pass Lightning Lane garbage that Disney has just engaged in, which is outrageous. But let's just talk about the park tickets, right? You go into Disney, so let's say that you have $250 to spend. If it's going to cost me $200 to walk into the park, I then have $50 to spend on other items that are in the park, food and beverage, merchandise, souvenirs, that quite frankly have a much higher profit margin than the park ticket. Okay, especially food and beverage. So if I'm Universal and I want to maximize the per capita spend, I want to maximize my profit for every person that enters the gate, where do I want them spending more of their budgeted dollars? Do I want them spending more of their budgeted dollars on the lower profit margin items, or do I want to spend or have them spend their dollars on the higher profit margin items? This is really easy. You don't have to think about it. If they're going to spend the same $250, I want them spending as much of that $250 buying merch and food and beverage, because that's where the money's at. We talk about this with movie theaters all the time, right? The bulk of the revenue for AMC still comes from their share of movie ticket sales. But the highest amount of profit that they make comes from the concession stand.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like an 85 to 90% profit margin on popcorn and candy and drinks. Literally what it is.
I need to throw this in here. It's a little bit of silly retail therapy kind of stuff, but they're doing dragons that you can put on your shoulder, that kind of thing, for the How to Train Your Dragon land. They just released footage of a Niffler. That's the thing from Wizarding World from Fantastic Beasts.
Yep.
It actually looks really neat. That it's a little fluffy thing that sits on your shoulder, and it has a little golden coin that it follows.
I have quite a few of them in the room of requirement in Hogwarts Legacy.
Perfect. Well, they're about to upgrade the wands. So I'm not saying that they're going to make the wands obsolete, but they're about to release a 3.0 version of all of those wands, because they're on 2.0 right now. Those are the interactive is the 2.0. They're about to do a 3.0. So they're going to be able to sell all of those wands.
All new wands. Yeah.
Again.
So it's like, hey, now you want the upgraded version of, because everybody's got, that's been there. You probably got one or multiple. Dumbledore, Elder Wand, Harry Potter, Hermione. I'm not kidding you. I probably have at least 15 of them. I would think somewhere around 15 of the wands from every time I go, I got another one. I got more earlier this year. And like, I'm so glad I got the wands before they started putting the LEDs in them, because they're solid. I don't like the ones with the LEDs because they feel like dinky and cheap because they're hollowed out to put the electronics in it. But yeah, they'll be able to sell a whole bunch of new stuff. And I want to call look at the size of the building in the Wizarding World. Look at the size of this thing. Look at this. Whatever ride that is huge. That is a huge indoor something going on. I mean, again, look at the size of the hotel, the Helios. Look at all of Dark Universe over here. look at Super Nintendo World. You can see the building right here for the Mario Kart ride. I'm assuming that's what that is right there. It has to be.
Yep.
Look at the size. The building here that is obviously an indoor ride for the Wizarding World. It's like twice the size. It looks like it's twice the size of the building in Super Nintendo World for that ride.
Right. Bearing in mind that the Helios right there, the top right corner of the map, that's already a very large building.
Yes.
So just for scale purposes here, and of course, Super Nintendo World and the Mario Kart ride, it's already out in Hollywood, and the AR aspect is a little controversial, but it's a big ride. There's also this huge Donkey Kong ride that's about to go in. Turns out they're going to have that before the Japan version of the attraction. But Monsters Unleashed looks like it might be the best ride in Orlando. Or it could end up being the Battle for the Ministry over there at Ministry of Magic. I mean, we've got another situation that's like a Velocicoaster, Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure kind of debate. Like, it's going to be to your taste which of these is the more impressive ride.
Right. Yeah, I can't wait to see them. I'm going to be there a couple of months before it opens, so I'm going to miss it, and I might have to wait till the following year, like early 26. Before I'm back out there. But I mean, I'm excited by this. I mean, I really want to go. And I'd love to go there like right when it opens, but I hate lines. I hate the crowds like that. I want to go when it's dead. So, I might not go in the middle of the summer, especially when it's hot and miserable, but I definitely plan to go there. But as far as pricing goes, back to that question, I think, like you said, Jonas, give them a chance. Let's see what happens here, because I think it's more important at this point for Universal Studios Orlando to make a statement that, hey, we are now going to go, we're not going to play second fiddle anymore. We are going toe-to-toe with Disney World, period. Like they said during the call, we want to make this a full 1-week destination vacation for families. We don't want to be the 2 or 3 day park anymore. We want to be the full week park, right? And if you look at what's here, if you look at this map, I know this is just one new gate, but it's really almost like 5 new gates. You've got Super Nintendo, Dark Universe, Harry Potter World, you could spend probably at half a day in the Isle of Berk. You could easily spend, I'm sure, half a day in Harry Potter World.
And I'm hearing from my sources that it's huge. That the Isle of Berk, people are underestimating how large that area is. I'm
looking at it now, and I'm like, look at the entrance here of Celestial Park, right? That's similar to what like you think of when you walk into Epcot. That kind of entrance way. And then it just keeps going and going and going. And you have this, I don't know what all is in Celestial Park, but look, you got the fountains, you got these pretty pavilions. There's probably a lot of restaurants in there. There's a lot of things to see and do in the park. And then you have 4 gates once you get in there to 4 completely different worlds. Again, I think this is massive. And this is, these analysts that were here today, I really
they don't understand. By the way, that central area,
Disney,
they're talking about opening that central area up, and they have a facial recognition technology for the tickets, which is Orwellian, and I'm not a big fan of it. But you're supposed to be able to wander freely through all of these if you have a ticket. But if you don't have a ticket, there's supposed to be a certain time of the evening that center section opens up with the very nice restaurants that are all in that center section, and the retail from each of these lands that will probably also be available in that center section. And you can buy a dining package for the fireworks show, which sounds like huge fountain. It's going to have a water element, a fireworks element, and then a projector element on the
hotel
Helios right there. So this looks like it is going to be even if you're not buying a ticket, they're going to make money off of you by getting you into this park. And there are a few rides here. By the way, Stardust Racers is the dual roller coaster that it looks like 2 green tubes coming out of the center section towards the right. That one also looks pretty awesome as far as rides
Okay.
go for Celestial Park.
So that's not part of that's not part of the How to Train Your Dragon Land.
Right. That is its own thing, and you got to see
Okay.
footage of that thing. It looks really cool. There's like it looks like two comets kind of like dancing or fighting with each other. It's a really neat effect on the night sky. They've already tested them, and we've seen footage of how it looks. It's really cool.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this, and again, give Universal a chance to actually get this up and running. The massive crowds, the amount of spending that's going to happen on merch and food and beverage, because it's about the totality of it, right? It's not just about how much money can we squeeze out of guests for park tickets and for fast passes and stuff like this. I truly don't understand the question, because I don't know what Craig Moffat is looking at, but what I'm looking at is all the flack that Disney is getting right now. People hate Disney right now. Park goers hate Disney right now because they keep finding more ways to nickel and dime guests to death on top of already, frankly, vastly overpriced theme park tickets for the value that you're getting. And like I said, especially once this opens in Orlando, I think once people start going there next summer, I think it's going to put a lot of pressure on Disney, because if you think the complaints about Walt Disney World right now are getting bad, wait until this thing opens. And people walk into Epic Universe for a lower cost of entry, I'm sure, than the Magic Kingdom or one-day Disney park ticket. They're going to see what's here, and they're going to go, wait a minute, how does this cost me $150 and Disney cost me $200? Look at what I'm getting here, and look at what I'm getting at Disney.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.